The devil wears a suit. Hello, waving hand. I recently started seeing a guy, and while we were sitting on the couch chatting casually, our attention suddenly turned to the other side of the room. His phone had just slid across a flat surface on its own. He mentioned that he swears his house is haunted and started telling me about weird things that have been happening. So one thing led to another, and we started swapping ghost stories. I was not expecting him to tell me one of the most chilling stories I've ever heard. This story took place back when he was in high school. His parents were out of town, and he had a buddy over. They were drinking and hanging out. Later that night, his friend went home, and his high school girlfriend called the house, saying they needed to talk and that she'd be over soon. He said he was sitting on the couch when there was a knock at the door. He got up, opened it, but no one was there. Confused, he went back to sit down. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw a shadow move. When he turned his head, he said he was met with a man in a suit and tie, just smiling at him. While he was staring at this man standing right in front of him, there was another knock at the door, and it snapped him back to reality. He answered it, and this time, it was his girlfriend. He told her what he'd just seen, but she didn't believe him. Later, he told his grandmother what happened. She only spoke Spanish, and since he didn't speak it very well, he tried explaining in broken Spanish. Before he could even finish, she started repeating, "That's the devil. That's the devil," and then told her own story. Back in Mexico, where she lived, there was a nightclub she and her friends went to one night. They met a very handsome and charming man at the bar, wearing a suit. One of her friends whispered that something felt off and told her to look at his legs. She said one leg was thin like a chicken's, and the other was curved like a goat's. One of the women was smitten with the man, so the grandmother and her other friend went to the bathroom, leaving the girl with him. In the bathroom, they heard screaming, and when they came out, the bar was on fire. It burned to the ground, and the friend and the man were never seen again. So now I'm wondering, has anyone else ever heard stories about the man in the suit? Eve heard a similar story from my dad, so it might be an urban legend. Back in the 60s, my dad said that in Mexico they banned the song Mambo No. 5 or Mambo No. 8 by Perez Prado. Reason for the ban was because a really beautiful woman was at a nightclub, but none of the guys were paying attention to her or weren't her type. So she said to herself, "I wish the devil would appear so I could dance," or something like that. Right after she said that, a well-dressed man in a suit appeared in front of the club and all eyes were on him. He went straight to her and asked her to dance. Mambo No. 5 or No. 8 started to play, and as they danced, people started to notice that the man's shoes had turned to hooves and they started to levitate towards the ceiling. As they went up, she started to freak out and tried to grab onto the wooden rafters. She had dug in with her fingernails so deep that it left scratch marks on the wood. She screamed and immediately fell to floor and died. Supposedly to this day you can still see the marks in the club. Now I looked it up online and it said this happened in TJ, but my family is from Jalisco, so this is why it's probably an urban legend. I do believe in the paranormal though, because Eve had so many crazy things happen, lol.